At Healthcare Partners Medical Group, our mission is to provide the highest quality of healthcare to each and every patient. With 5 locations in Pahrump, we are local doctors you know and trust. We want to thank you for choosing us. Quality care starts here.
What role does genetics play when it comes to heart disease? Healthcare Partners cardiologist Dr. Eric answers this question.
What is the role of genetics in heart disease? Let's talk about coronary disease, the disease that causes heart attacks, sudden death, congestive heart failure, over 1.5 million cardiac events per year, and is the #1 cause of hospitalization of adults in not just the United States, but throughout the world. What's the role of genetics? What I'd like people to know is there's really actually a very easy tool that you can use to calculate your own heart risk, meaning your risk of a heart attack or a stroke. There's a website. You can go to qrisk.org. And in qrisk.org, you don't have to be a doctor to go to that. You just go to that website, and it's going to ask you about 10 questions. It's going to ask you about, your family history. It's going to ask you your blood pressure, your height, your weight, your cholesterol to HDL ratio, which you can get from your doctor. Most patients in this town have had that blood panel done. It's called a lipid panel. It's just a basic cholesterol, triglyceride, HDL. It's nothing fancy or esoteric. You plug all those numbers in, and it will tell you what your 10-year risk is of having a heart attack or a stroke. And you can play with that. You can change the numbers, change the parameters. And in the box that allows you to click family history, and for our purposes and our patients' purposes, we're talking about a parent or sibling who had a heart attack before age 60. If your father had a heart attack at age 89, that's not a risk factor for heart disease. We're talking about premature risk. So if you play with that, you'll see that the family history, as I just defined it, has a role. But it's not huge. It's these other things that you can change. Smoking, blood pressure, weight. These are the things, your sugar level, whether you're diabetic or not, how well that's controlled, that really modify your risk going forward. So although genetics is important, and a lot of lab companies tout very expensive tests to look at your genetic profile, at the end of the day, it doesn't affect your risk as much as all the other things combined. And here's the other thing, you can't change your genetic profile. You're born with that. So you have to focus on the risk factors you can modify.
So this all comes down to something so simple. You are really in charge of your own health.
Let's put that in a perspective. Statin drugs, which are the best medicine we have to decrease heart and stroke risk, along with a daily baby aspirin in people for whom that's appropriate. Just doing that eliminates only 30% of your risk. But if you have a daily exercise regimen, you don't smoke, your blood pressure is controlled, you're not diabetic, and your cholesterol is controlled, you eliminate 95% of your risk.
And continuing with that story, in part 2, Dr. Eric answers, how many hours of exercise should a person have to do on a daily basis to stay healthy?
This has been studied so much. We know the amount of exercise to prescribe. I've even written on a prescription pad, here's your regimen, 30 minutes of physical activity per day. That physical activity does not have to be great. It can consist of walking at a little bit above average pace around the block. It can consist of gardening. It can consist of yard work. Hey, if you're at a big shopping area, as long as you're walking and you walk 30 minutes at above an average pace, that counts. Swimming, going to the gym, walking on a treadmill, a spin class at the gym. There's a new gym here even in town. It looks very well equipped. I'm actually going to stop there one day on the way out of town to see what they've got. It's right there on Highway 160. I want to point out one other thing about exercise for those patients in town who are Humana patients. There's a tremendous benefit of the health plan. They can go to the gym.
It's free.
It's free.
There you go.
You don't need a gym to exercise, though. I mean, let's face it. You can just get out and walk around the block.
It's true. You don't need a gym. You don't need all the special diets that they're selling to you on.
special shoes.
There you go. That they're selling you on TV, right?
You don't need all that.
There you go. Just get out there and exercise, whatever you can do.
Control the risk factors. Modify those. Your genetic inheritance, you've got. You can't change that.
Dr. George Leeks brings you through the steps of a typical eye exam.
The eye exam is one of the few eye few exams that you don't have to study for. So when you come into the office, just come in relaxed and ready to answer the questions. Basically what we do during the exam, we actually have two parts of the exam. The refractive portion, which is to find out what kind of eyeglasses or contact lenses you need, and then the second part is the health portion, to make sure your eyes are good and healthy. And when we're doing the refraction portion, we're just asking you for your very best answer. There's no right or wrong, just mostly which is better, one or two, and you make a selection, and once we get it narrowed down to your last two lenses, that is the prescription for that eye. Okay, what about here? Which is better, one or two?
One.
Three or four?
Four.
Five or six?
Five.
Seven. And of course we have the reading chart to let you see how you see the letters and everything for that. And once we get it zeroed in, we believe everybody should be able to see 20/20 or better, or we should be able to find out why not in the health portion of the exam.
Do you find that people kind of worry a little bit if they're not getting exact and they want to keep going over which one's blurry or which one's not because they're a little afraid that they might get the wrong prescription?
I do. I think some people are concerned that they are contradicting themselves because we use the same numbers. We may say 1 or 2, 3, and 4, and then I may start at 1 and 2 again, but that second 1 or 2 is not the same as the first one. So you don't have to worry about, oh, did I say 1 before or did I say 2 before, and now I'm saying 1 this time, am I contradicting myself? I find that children are a lot less concerned about that. They just tell it like it is, and that's how the adults should be. If it looks worse than the previous one, that is the answer you should give us, that you know, the number 2 is worse or whatever.
This eye exam is not only for glasses but for contact lenses as well?
That's right. We will start with the eyeglass prescription for contacts, and then we'll build upon it. There are a few extra tests that we do for contact lens wearers, but for the most part, the basis of the contact lens prescription is the eyeglass prescription.
And you also check for the health of the eye at the same time?
I do. Once we do the eyeglasses portion of the contact lens portion, we will do the health portion, because I use a lot of bright lights, and many times we will dilate the pupil, and the vision isn't its best during those. If I shine the bright lights in the eye, maybe several minutes before the vision will return to its maximum. So we usually do that last. I will do a slit lamp examination, which is for the most part looking at the lids and lashes and the external parts of the eye. And then we will do ophthalmoscope, which is to examine the internal parts of the eye. We also take photographs of the inside of the eye if there's something we need to watch, and we can do scans to see what's going on underneath the surface of the retina too.
And we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. George Leeks.
When we first start off, they of course will take your eye health history and your general health history, and then we do what we call a pre-test. We have an automated refractor. It's a computerized refractor, so that we don't have to be so worried about where to start. The computer will give us a good starting point. Sometimes it is the end point also. They are just that good. We also do a non-contact glaucoma screening test, and we can measure the topography of the eye, and we can also do OCT that looks at the inside of your eye and looks at the vessels and the macula for macular degeneration and things like that.
The part that you were talking about with the non-contact, that's where they actually use the air burst.
Yes, the air burst. It comes in the eye, and it's such a quick test that it feels like it's just one burst, but it actually starts with lower pressure and goes up until the actual pressure inside of the eye is the same as the pressure that the instrument is pushing, and that's the cutoff point, so we know exactly what your internal eye pressure is.
Tell me what Walt does here.
Walter is one of our
let's see you there.
ophthalmic technicians.
There you go. Hey,
And he will start off with the history taking, and he will take them through through the pre-testing, which is the autorefractor NCT, and he also works in the room with me to help me record, make sure our records are complete, and assist the patients in any other way. He does the visual fields, the OCTs, photos, and all. He's doing it all.
There you go. One of the wonderful people that we will find here if you give Dr. Leaks a call and come on down and get your eye exam, which should be done how frequently?
Once a year. We recommend everybody get the eyes examined once a year, and more frequently if there's eye disease like diabetic eye disease or macular degeneration or glaucoma. All of those, but we will discuss those during the exam. But for the average person, once a year.
There you go. And the number to call for an appointment?
775-727-8300.
When we come back from this break, we'll have news across Nevada and so much more.